Straight ahead on 12 News Weekend, the drill to beat the beetle. What Plymouth is doing now to save ash trees. Plus, let the fun in the sun begin. Local pools open up, but you may be surprised to learn the work it takes to get them ready. But first, a Brooklyn Park homeowner who won't be swimming in his pool anytime soon.
We were sleeping and we heard the cops pounding on the door like they were going to come through.
12 News Weekend starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us on 12 News Weekend. I'm Delane Cleveland.
And I'm Shannon Slatton. A Brooklyn Park homeowner's weekend plans sure changed in a hurry.
A driver crashed into his backyard on Thursday, and unfortunately for the homeowner, it's not the first time it's happened.
I guess just bad luck or bad people.
This morning at around 8 a.m., bad luck in the form of a Chevy SUV rolled its way into Wayne Quigley's backyard along Highway 252 near 79th Avenue North.
Luckily, the fence wrapped around his car as he was rolling, because with the fence and with the pool, stopped him from going any farther.
The vehicle left a mangled mess of debris and a pool where people won't be swimming anytime soon.
We just set it up on Saturday, just filled it this week, and we'll have to buy a new one.
Brooklyn Park police say the 38-year-old driver was heading northbound on 252 when he fell asleep at the wheel and veered off the road.
He admitted to the fact that he fell asleep, and there was officers didn't get any indication that there was any alcohol involved in the accident. So at this point, we believe him.
But would you believe that this isn't the first time a car ended up in Quigley's backyard?
Memorial Day weekend of last year, 2014, Honda Civic left the highway the same spot, blew through our shed, and ended up next to a pine tree here.
It's said that lightning never strikes the same place twice. Apparently, that same logic doesn't apply to motor vehicles.
All the neighbors can count about a dozen times where this has happened, and still the city or state hasn't done anything yet.
Despite their concerns, police don't quite share the same sentiments.
There's just a large number of cars on that roadway, but we're not seeing anything in design change that would help.
Quigley would prefer to see a retaining wall replace the chain link fence on 252. For now, though, he's just thankful that his swimming pool was the only casualty.
My wife's 3 months pregnant, and this could have been a whole lot worse. So I'd like someone to do something.
Police say the driver who fell asleep suffered non-life-threatening injuries.
Meanwhile, Brooklyn Park has plans to fix nearly 65% of its city streets, but how the city is going to pay for those repairs is another question. An asphalt mixture supplied by the state in the 80s and 90s didn't last as long as expected. That, combined with Minnesota's harsh winters, have caused roads to deteriorate prematurely. Brooklyn Park officials estimate they'll need about $35 million over the next 14 years to make the necessary street repairs.
When we look at funding, I think most folks understand the city has a finite amount of resources, so there either needs to be shifts or reallocation of funds, or there needs to be additional funds generated. And we have been looking to the state for some help on that. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get much help there.
The City Council will weigh its options before trying to budget for the repairs this fall.
The city of New Hope is getting a grocery store. It could also be getting something else it currently doesn't have. The City Council will soon review plans for a medical clinic. It would be built next to the Hy-Vee grocery store currently under construction. Hy-Vee would lease 13,000 square feet of space to North Memorial for the project.
Staff and anybody that we've talked to in the city are very excited about the proposed use and having a primary care clinic in the city of New Hope, something that we currently don't have.
Hy-Vee hopes to have the clinic up and running by fall when the grocery store opens its doors.
The city of Golden Valley has started the process of hiring a new city manager. Tom Burt has held that position for nearly 13 years. He plans to retire in September. The city has hired a search firm to look for a replacement. Mayor Shep Harris says the goal is to hire someone in August and have that person on board in September before Burt leaves.
In our weekend review, a former Maple Grove City Council member received a stricter sentence for stealing money from her dying father. A judge resentenced LeAnn Sargent to additional probation time. Sargent was sentenced last year to 4 months in the workhouse and 2 years probation. An appeals court ruled that punishment was too lenient. Sargent must now serve 5 years of probation for cheating her father out of more than $120,000. Golden Valley police are alerting residents to keep a lookout for their neighbors. This after 5 burglaries in one day in the area of Bassett Creek Drive and Noble Avenue. All of them occurred in broad daylight after the homeowners had left for work. Police are looking for a white male who drives a white Cadillac Escalade. And brick by brick, the former Brookdale 8 movie theater has started to come down. It's part of a lengthy demolition process of the former Brookdale Square shopping center. The work will eventually make way for market-rate apartment buildings. Well, this weekend, people may lather on the sunscreen for a day at the pool.
Sounds good. Several local outdoor pools are open for the season this weekend, and you may be surprised to learn the work it takes to get them ready to go.
So they don't need to have the line up for the buoys, but they've got their blue transition line there.
The week before opening day at city pools is like a dress rehearsal for the water.
This is a pool test kit, checking for chlorine levels, chlorine disinfection residual.
Hennepin County inspectors check out hundreds of public pools like they are today in New Hope to make sure the pool is ready to go.
Right around Memorial Day is one of our busiest periods for pool openings throughout the pool season. Missing a ladder cap on this one here.
They check for the safety precautions they can see, like fences and life preservers.
All these hot dogs got to get replaced. They're all broken.
And inspectors also check what they cannot see.
It could be chlorine or bromine. We're looking for pH measurements, cyanuric acid, that's a chemical that keeps chlorine in the pool. It acts as a blanket.
They test the balance of chemicals, which is particularly important at a public pool that plans to open 7 days a week during the summer. If dozens of swimmers plan to play in these waters, they must be safe.
That's what's killing off the germs, bacteria, microbes that are in the water that could get swimmers sick as they're getting water in their mouth and splashing around.
It comes as no surprise that this pool is ready to go.
We make sure that it's safe for people to come in.
Matt Remore has been working on it for weeks.
It's a long process. I started over here at the beginning of May just to try to get everything cleaned up and ready to go.
During the season, he'll check the water as many as 4 times a day, and inspectors will be back to check in once more.
Inspectors can't be at every pool every day of the year, 24/7, but we hope that time of the year that we come out and have those important discussions with the operators makes a difference.
The New Hope and Crystal public pools are open Saturday and Sunday from 1 until 7. Coming up on 12 News Weekend, are you out house hunting? One home in Maple Grove comes with a gubernatorial perk.
Then later in sports, Armstrong makes it 3 section titles in a row in girls lacrosse.
But first, drying out and warming up. 80s Monday, 90s possible on Tuesday. How about this? There's a home in Maple Grove up for sale with a unique history. This 5-bedroom on Walnut Grove Lane used to be the home of former Governor Jesse Ventura. The 5,100 square foot house sits on an acre of land and is on the market for more than $700,000. The former governor hasn't lived or owned the house in several years. But DeLane, I think you could throw a good barbecue in the backyard. It's got a really nice one.
I think you could. I was about to bust out my Jesse Ventura impression, but I don't think the audience is ready for that.
We'll wait for the barbecue, okay? Now, if you're out landscaping this weekend, you might want to give some extra thought to your ash trees.
The structure of tree beetle is closing in on the Northwest Metro, and as Sonia Goins reports, that has the city of Plymouth taking action.
This tree's probably been here 25 years.
The Plymouth Creek playfield is populated with plenty of ash trees.
And on the large ones, you can't replace a tree this big.
And city officials want to keep it that way. They want to protect the trees from the emerald ash borer. The invasive insect destroys ash trees.
It's kind of an insidious little bug. It'll be here for 3 or 4 years before we find it here.
This is taking it super slow.
For the next couple of weeks, city crews are injecting trees with a pesticide called triage.
You're giving the tree a shot, and you're putting the chemical into that water conducting area, and then that'll be taken up into the tree.
Crews drill holes into the tree and insert a special plug so the chemical doesn't leak out.
And what's nice with these plugs is they seal up so the chemical can't come back out of the tree at all.
Crews will treat about 300 trees that are located in city parks and boulevards. They say it's better to be safe than sorry later.
We're going to get it in there, so if it's here, we're protected. If it's not here, well, we're still protected either way.
In Plymouth, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
The pesticide Plymouth uses requires a license, so homeowners will have to get a professional to apply it to private property. There are also other alternatives available at local garden centers. Well, coming up, a piece of art that's turning heads at a Brooklyn Park Elementary School.
But first, Maple Grove wins a thriller to qualify for their first ever trip to state in boys lacrosse. That's coming up in sports with Jay Wilcox. Be right back.
The spring high school season wraps up in the coming week with state tournaments in baseball, golf, and lacrosse. A number of local teams played in section finals in lacrosse. Starting with Maple Grove against Wayzata in the Section 8 boys final. Top seed Wayzata gets off to a good start. Amar Batra uses a pick and fires the shot home for a 4-1 Trojans lead. Maple Grove fights back though. Hunter House takes the pass, makes a nice spin move and scores to make it 4-3. The Crimson though still trail at 6-3 at halftime. It's tied 6-6 in the fourth when Jack Kelly sends a pass out to Max Johnson and he buries a long shot. The Crimson lead at 7-6. They later go up 9-6. Wayzata's within 9-8 but running out of time until Adam Grooms fires the shot home to score 9-9 with just 15 seconds left. And this game goes to overtime. In the second OT, from a tough angle, Jake Wilson sneaks the shot in. Maple Grove is headed to the state tournament for the first time with a 10-9 win. They'll face White Bear Lake on Tuesday. The Wayzata girls pulled out a 1-goal game to beat Maple Grove in the Section 8 semifinals. That put them into the championship against Anoka. Late first half, Tyra Swanson scores from the free position. Wayzata leads 4-2 at halftime. Second half, it's Swanson again with a run to the goal and a great shot. She makes it 7-4 Wayzata. The Tornadoes rally though. Ashley Muckway's goal ties it up at 7-all. But Wayzata gets the next two. Caitlin Riley from the free position scores to make it 8-7. Then Haley Schmidt whistles a shot in for a goal. The Trojans go to state for the first time with a 9-7 win. Better weather for the Section 5 championship between Armstrong and Irondale. Second half, Haley Holdall sets up Amy Master for the goal for Armstrong. Then Holdall ducks an Irondale defender and scores for an 8-3 Falcons lead. Master's pass is controlled by Ella Halverson and she spins and scores. Armstrong wins 10-4 and goes back to state for a third straight season. In the Section 7 girls final, OsseoPark Center meeting Champlin Park. Champlin Park's Hannah Crimble scoops up the loose ball and puts the shot away. The Rebels take a 1-0 lead over OPC. OsseoPark Center goes in front as Hannah Foote spins and then works her way into the front of the net area to give OPC a 4-3 lead. But they have trouble stopping Crimble in this one. She goes over the top of the goalie to score here for a 5-4 lead. It's 6-5 Rebels at the half. Holding a 1-goal lead at 8-7, Crimble deflects this one in to make it 9-7. The Rebels hold on for a 9-8 win to advance to state for a second year in a row. The state softball tournament is now in the books. One local team was in the tournament this season. Maple Grove faced Woodbury in the 3A quarterfinals. Bottom of the first, Metro Player of the Year, Sydney Smith, driving this one deep way over the fence and left. A solo home run makes it 1-0 Crimson. And in the pitching circle, Smith is her usual dominant self. She fans 6 of the first 9 hitters in the game. Woodbury pitcher Ashley Mickschel keeps the game close though. She gets a strikeout in the bottom of the third, stranding Crimson runners at second and third base. The Royals put runners at first and second with nobody out in the seventh, but Smith works out of trouble. She gets a comebacker to end the game as the Crimson win 1-0. However, they lost 1-0 to Eastview in the semifinals and then beat Becker to take third place. The state boys tennis tournament is also in the books. The Breck Mustangs were the only local team to play in the tournament. The Mustangs meeting St. Peter in the Class A quarterfinals. Number 1 singles, St. Peter's Zeke Haugen serving to Austin Wong. After a couple of volleys, Wong will rip a nice forehand off the overhead backhand by Haugen. Wong goes on to win 6-2, 6-1. At third singles, Breck Sam Fernandez is in the near court against St. Peter's Drew Ellefson. Fernandez comes to the net and will put the ball deep in the corner for a point. He wins for the Mustangs at three singles, 6-3, 6-2. To number 1 doubles, Breck's Jack O'Grady and Prashant Gadashala on the far court against St. Peter's Avery Bachman and Kalen Weiss. Gadashala with a backhand in the net will get a point for the Mustangs. Breck takes this match. They down St. Peter 6-1. Breck advanced to the final, but they lost 7-0 to Blake. So state runner-up finish, not so bad.
Not too bad at all. Thanks, Jay.
Well, you could say a 5th grade class at Oxbow Creek got a little wild this week.
When you guys commit to something, say, I'm going to do my homework. You go and do your homework.
Good advice there. It was a lesson on commitment and work ethic that Minnesota Wild defensemen Jordan Leopold and Nate Prosser had for this class at Oxbow Creek Elementary. Leopold's daughter Jordan is in that class, and teacher Melissa Stein started following hockey this year and realized she had Nate Prosser as a 2nd grade student in Anoka. She even found the 2nd grade picture and a poem that he wrote, so she invited the 2 men to the school.
And the kids knowing he was one of my students, I'm telling the truth when I say, hey, work hard. It'll get you places, you know, and so for them to see that he made it, and it's because of his hard work and his good choices and work ethic and all those things we talk about all the time.
You might remember Leopold's daughter wrote a letter to Wild coaches this winter that went viral, asking them to bring her dad back to play in Minnesota, and it worked.
Cool story.
Very cool. Still ahead, Park Brook Pride with an artistic twist.
How the Brooklyn Park Elementary School came up with this mosaic when we come back. Well, that's Big Head Todd and the Monsters performing one of their hits, Bittersweet. They'll perform at the Hilde Performance Center in Plymouth on Friday, August 21st. Tickets are now on sale, and hip-hop blues band G-Love and Special Sauce is also part of the music lineup. And finally, when the students at One Brooklyn Park Elementary School return next fall, they'll find a new piece of art to greet them.
Take a look at this mosaic, and no, it's not for the Timberwolves, but rather it's the school's mascot at Park Brook Elementary. Some 5th and 6th grade students cut the glass, grouted and cemented it as part of an after-school activity led by a Maple Grove High School student who was working on earning the Gold Award for the Girl Scouts. The mosaic will be hung in the school's entrance this summer, but for now it's been turning heads outside of the principal's office.
It does catch the eye of everyone as they walk into the office here, because when you're standing even a little bit more of a distance away, it's just amazing how it looks.
The students completed the mosaic over the course of several weeks. So that's the last thing you see before you go in the principal's office. I don't know if that's encouraging or what.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
All right, good job, everybody. That's all the news we have for now. We'll see you next time.
I'll see you on Monday.